Hey, Cowboys Nation, this is Cowboys Wire News, your home for breaking news, smart analysis, rumors, and film room insights. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a snap. Let's talk America's team. The rumor started the way these things always do in Dallas. Quietly at first, then spreading like wildfire through locker rooms, radio shows, and group chats. Until it felt impossible to ignore. Brian Schottenheimer, now sitting in the most powerful chair inside the Cowboys facility, allegedly looked a player straight in the eyes and delivered a sentence that changes careers and franchises, according to whispers. His message was blunt, cold, and final. This quarterback would not play for him anymore. When people around the league connect the dots, there is only one name that makes sense, and that name is Dakota Prescott. Dak has been the face of the Cowboys for years. The calm leader. The man who carried expectations heavier than any defensive line, but rumors do not care about past achievements or reputation. They feed on tension, on subtle signs, on moments where body language shifts and trust erodes. Some insiders claim the relationship between Schottenheimer and Prescott had cracks long before anyone noticed. Play calling disagreements, philosophical clashes, and the eternal debate between control and freedom at quarterback allegedly built pressure behind the scenes in a franchise where every move is magnified, even silence becomes loud. And now, with this supposed declaration, the silence has turned into a roar of speculation that refuses to die down. What makes this rumor explode is not just the idea of Dak Prescott being pushed aside, but the personality of Brian Schottenheimer himself, known as a coach who values structure, discipline, and execution above all else. Schottenheimer has always believed that the system comes before the star. If the quarterback does not fully align with the vision, friction becomes inevitable. People close to the situation suggest that Schottenheimer wants absolute command of the offense, with precise reads, strict timing, and minimal improvisation. Prescott, on the other hand, has grown into a quarterback who trusts his instincts, who likes to read the field and adjust in real time. That contrast might sound small to fans, but in an NFL locker room, it can define everything. Rumor has it that meetings became tense, with subtle disagreements masked by professional smiles. The words exchanged were never public, but the feeling lingered. When a coach believes his quarterback is not fully buying into the system, doubts turn into decisions, and if Schottenheimer truly said what people claim, then it signals a dramatic power shift. In Dallas, one where even the most established leader is not untouchable anymore. Round the league, executives and players are watching closely, because this situation feels like more than a simple coaching preference. It feels like a philosophical reset. Dallas has lived for years balancing tradition and modernity, star power and structure. Dak Prescott symbolized stability, resilience, and continuity, especially after personal adversity and on-field pressure. But rumors suggest that Schottenheimer wants to reshape the Cowboys in his own image, starting with the most important position in football. If true, the message sent is loud: no contract, no legacy, no popularity outweighs the system. That idea alone sends shockwaves through the locker room. Teammates reportedly feel confused, torn between loyalty to their quarterback and respect for their head coach. When leadership clashes at the top, everyone underneath feels the tremor. Even those who deny the rumor admit that something feels different. Body language on the sideline, shorter conversations, fewer visible moments of connection. In the NFL, perception often becomes reality long before official moves are made. The media frenzy surrounding this alleged statement has only fueled the fire. Analysts speculate endlessly about what could have triggered such a drastic stance. Some believe it comes down to performance expectations that were not met. Others argue it is about long-term vision rather than short-term results. Schottenheimer, as the story goes, is not interested in maintaining comfort. He wants transformation. Dak Prescott, for all his leadership qualities, might represent the past in the eyes of a coach eager to define his own era. This is not about disrespect, according to sources, but about alignment. When alignment disappears, separation follows. The idea that a head coach would publicly or privately draw such a hard line suggests absolute conviction. It implies that Schottenheimer is willing to face backlash, criticism, and even risk his own standing to enforce his philosophy. That kind of confidence can inspire, but it can also divide. And in Dallas, division is never quiet. Fans, meanwhile, are split straight down the middle. Some see this rumored stance as overdue toughness. a sign that the Cowboys are finally prioritizing system over sentiment. Others see it as reckless, a betrayal of a quarterback who gave everything to the franchise. Social media debates rage, without pause, with every clip, quote, and gesture analyzed frame by frame. In this environment, the rumor takes on a life of its own. Even without confirmation, it shapes narratives, expectations, and emotional investment. Dak Prescott becomes not just a player, but a symbol of loyalty versus evolution. Brian Schottenheimer becomes either the architect of a bold new future or the villain of a disastrous gamble. The truth may sit somewhere in between. But rumors rarely wait for truth to catch up. As the speculation deepens, one question hangs over everything. What happens next if this rumor holds weight? In the NFL, once doubt about a quarterback's future becomes public, the countdown often begins. Teams call quietly, agents listen carefully, and contingency plans are drawn up behind closed doors. Dak Prescott's name alone would reshape conversations across the league, not because of numbers on a stat sheet, but because of what he represents as a leader and professional. If Schottenheimer has truly decided to move on, it means Dallas is prepared for chaos before clarity. Quarterback transitions are never smooth, especially when they involve someone so deeply woven into a franchise's identity. Yet, some believe this chaos is exactly what Schottenheimer wants. A controlled burn to clear space for something new. Whether that something is a young prospect, a system quarterback, or an entirely different defensive philosophy remains a mystery, but rumors suggest the decision, at least emotionally, has already been made. Inside the Cowboys building, according to whispers, the atmosphere feels heavier than usual. Conversations stop when certain people walk into the room. Eyes linger a second longer during meetings. These are the subtle signs veterans recognize immediately. Even if no official announcement comes, players can sense when a chapter is closing. Dak Prescott, known for professionalism, reportedly continues to prepare as if nothing has changed, but that does not mean he is unaware. Quarterbacks live in a world of constant evaluation, and silence can be louder than criticism. If Schottenheimer truly delivered such a definitive message, then Prescott's future in Dallas exists in a strange limbo where preparation meets uncertainty. That kind of mental space is exhausting, even for the strongest leaders. From a broader perspective, this rumor speaks to the unforgiving nature of professional football. Loyalty has limits, and vision often overrides emotion. Coaches want players who reflect their identity, their beliefs, their approach to the game. When that alignment falters, even slightly, the cracks can widen quickly. Brian Schottenheimer stepping into the head coaching role comes with immense pressure to prove he is not just maintaining the status quo. Moving away from a franchise quarterback would be the ultimate statement of independence. It would say that his era will not be defined by inherited stars, but by deliberate choices. Whether that gamble pays off or backfires spectacularly is something only time will reveal. But the rumor alone already changes the emotional landscape of the Cowboys. What makes this story so compelling is that it does not rely on confirmed facts to feel real. The personalities involved, the history, and the timing all aligned perfectly. Dak Prescott at a crossroads of legacy, Brian Schottenheimer at the beginning of his defining chapter, and a franchise desperate to redefine itself. When someone allegedly says, he is out, it echoes far beyond the locker room. It becomes a signal to the entire league that change is coming, whether people are ready or not. And in Dallas, change is never just change. It is spectacle, drama, and identity all rolled into one. As the days pass and nothing is officially said, the rumor only grows stronger. Silence feeds imagination, and imagination feeds belief. Every practice rep, every sideline conversation, every camera angle becomes part of the narrative. Fans brace themselves for a future that looks radically different from the past. Some feel excitement, others dread, but no one feels indifferent. If Brian Schottenheimer truly drew that line, then the Cowboys are standing on the edge of a defining moment, one that will be remembered not just for wins or losses, but for the moment a coach chose vision over familiarity. And if Dak Prescott's journey in Dallas is nearing its end, it will not fade quietly. It will end amid speculation, debate, and the kind of emotional intensity that only football in Dallas can produce. The speculation refuses to slow down, because stories like this tap into something deeper than schemes and playbooks. They touch pride, authority, and the fragile balance between player empowerment and coaching control around league circles. The rumor is already being treated as a cautionary tale, whispered in conversations between executives who understand how quickly situations can escalate when trust erodes. Brian Schottenheimer is being painted, fairly or not, as a coach determined to draw hard lines early in his tenure. Some believe this is a calculated move, a way to establish dominance and make it clear that his word is final, regardless of who stands on the other side. Others argue it is a dangerous gamble, especially in a locker room filled with veterans who respect Dak Prescott not just as a quarterback, but as a human being who carried the franchise through turbulent moments. When a leader like that is potentially pushed out, it sends a message that ripples through every position group. Players begin to wonder how secure their own roles truly are. In that sense, the rumor becomes less about Dak himself and more about the environment being created. A culture built on certainty can inspire focus, but a culture built on fear can fracture quickly. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. There is also the financial and symbolic weight hovering over this entire situation. Even if nobody speaks about it openly, a quarterback like Dak Prescott represents investment, branding, and identity. Jerseys, commercials, community presence, and locker room hierarchy are all tied to that name. If Brian Schottenheimer is indeed ready to move on, it suggests he is prepared to absorb the shockwaves that follow. That level of conviction is rare, especially for a coach still writing the first pages of his legacy in Dallas. Rumors suggest that ownership is watching carefully, measuring public reaction while weighing football logic against business reality. This is where speculation becomes truly fascinating, because it highlights how power is negotiated behind closed doors. Coaches want control, players want respect, and organizations want stability. When those interests collide, decisions are rarely clean. If Prescott is sensing this shift, he is likely already thinking beyond the field, considering what his story could look like elsewhere. Even if he never voices it publicly, that quiet awareness can change everything about how a player carries himself, how he speaks, and how he leads. In the end, what keeps this rumor alive is not the quote itself, but how believable it feels within the context of modern football. Coaches are under pressure to prove themselves immediately. Quarterbacks are under constant scrutiny, regardless of past loyalty. Franchises are desperate to find the formula that turns potential into dominance. Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott sit at the intersection of all those pressures. Whether the words were actually spoken or simply implied, the perception is already shaping reality. Teammates feel it, fans feel it, and the league feels it. Even if tomorrow brings denials and reassurances, something fundamental has shifted in how this partnership is viewed. Trust, once questioned, is hard to fully restore. That is why rumors like this matter. They expose the emotional undercurrents that statistics never show. And if this truly is the beginning of the end for Prescott in Dallas, it will be remembered not as a sudden break, but as a slow unraveling that everyone sensed long before it became official. As the story stretches on, it becomes clear that the true power of this rumor lies not in its outcome, but in its ability to reframe expectations across the league. The YouTuber voice leans into that realization, emphasizing that speculation like this shapes narratives long before contracts are signed. Aaron Donald's name attached to the Cowboys instantly elevates every conversation about the NFC East, turning routine analysis into dramatic forecasting. His rumored commitment to hunting divisional quarterbacks becomes a symbol of intent, a declaration that mediocrity is no longer acceptable. Players around the league take notice. Fans adjust their hopes, and rivals prepare for a scenario they cannot fully control. Whether this saga ends with celebration or disappointment, it has already left its mark by reminding everyone how quickly the balance of belief can shift. In sports, perception often becomes reality. And right now, the perception is that something big is brewing in Dallas, something loud, aggressive, and impossible to ignore. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.